For the first time ever, the City of Champions host their first ever Monster Jam World Finals. The 23rd World Finals is probably the most anticipated event of the year, with a unique racing course and an all-star lineup with World Finals veterans and incredible rookies. This year's event would go down in the history books. So, without further ado, this is our Monster Jam World Finals 23 review. The weekend started off on Friday as we saw all the new schemes that would be ran for the weekend. The last chance qualifiers came out with many new schemes. Tony Oaks debuted an inverse Thunderosaurus, Kraken debuted an all-new purple design, Jester debuted a silver scheme ahead of its 10th anniversary next year, Just Get It Done debuted a throwback scheme, and Team El Toro Loco did not disappoint either. Jamie Garner brought back the Yellow El Toro, and Joe Foley brought out the Nitro El Toro Loco. Seeing so many new and returning schemes was an absolute pleasure to see, especially for the El Toro Locos. In round 1 of the last chance qualifier, Overboard defeated Just Get It Done, Megalodon defeated Jester, and Kraken defeated Raminator. During the race between Thunderosaurus and Joe Foley's El Toro Loco, Tony Oaks suffered a huge crash, however was not penalized for missing the ramp, in saying that the damage was too much for Thunderosaurus, which means Joe Foley would advance. However, in a strange turn of events, Foley's truck would not be able to make it out in time, giving Mark Hall yet another chance in the LCQ bracket. In round 2, Velociraptor defeated Overboard, Jamie Garner's El Toro Loco defeated Raminator, Monsterma defeated Megalodon, and Vendetta defeated Kraken. In the semi-finals, a big mistake from Jamie Garner helped David Olfert make it to the LCQ finals, and Chris Kohler, despite winning his race against Mike Christensen, was penalized for not staying within the white lines, making the LCQ final round race a Team Throttle Monster showdown. In the end, David Olfert would win the first ever last chance qualifier and is officially the 24th competitor in the World Finals. For the main field, more trucks unveiled brand new schemes. Zach Garner had this simple, however really cool looking design that featured a chrome logo and a callback to the very first Wild Side. Black Pearl debuted an all-new Cadillac Escalade body, Corey Rummel brought back the Fire Megalodon with a slightly altered scheme and glowing red eyes, and Jim Coller's Avenger debuted an absolute heater of a scheme, inspired by LA street art and graffiti. Now, this is an all-timer Avenger scheme, so much better than last year's scheme, which was something. Qualifying was super intense, and there were a lot of surprises. Zach Garner was very fast and was only booted out of the top 8 at the very end. Some drivers made big mistakes, which cost them in the long run, but many drivers mastered this challenging course, none more so than the fastest qualifier, Tyler Manninger, who took home his first ever fastest qualifier trophy at the World Finals. The brackets were set, the 24th competitor was determined, and the 23rd World Finals was set to kick off on Saturday. The skills challenge started off the competitions on Saturday, and it was a really good championship. This year, drivers would have 2 rounds to perform their best two-wheel trick, with the highest score from either round determining where they would finish in the competition. Round 1 started off strong, with some great attempts from Weston Anderson, Zach Garner, Blake Granger, and Tristan England. However, it was Tyler Menninger who had led the competition after the first round. In round 2, almost everyone had a better second attempt. Some drivers tried something crazy, especially after Armando Castro set the world on fire with this insane moonwalk to backflip. Weston Anderson was close, and credit to Jamie Sullivan for a really good second attempt. However, despite the other 7 drivers' best attempts, it was Armando Castro winning his first ever Skills World Championship. This now technically makes him a 2-time champion, since he won the inaugural Speedster Racing Championship. After the dancing JCB diggers performed at halftime, it was time for high jump. Like the previous year's competition, this year's event was all about skill and not just hoping and praying. Lindsay Reed started off with a modest height of 26 26.638 feet. However, this was soon trumped by the reigning high jump champion Ryan Anderson, who put up an impressive 28.19 feet. Jamie Garner would put the returning yellow El Toro Loco to the skies as he took the lead with an impressive 28.57 feet. Bryce Kenny would hit the track next and raise the bar to 28.876 feet, even sending the truck to the left and getting a great save out of it. By this point in the competition, huge ruts were starting to form and drivers were struggling for traction. Tyler Manninger lined up very strategically, and this helped him get the new highest jump with a staggering 29.562 feet. Barry Musau really struggled to get traction and unfortunately did not take the lead from Tyler Manninger. Colt Stevens also lined up strategically and managed to get a straight shot to the ramp, getting a ginormous leap which helped him take the lead with a mind-blowing 31.343 feet. Corey Rummel really got the blunt end of the stick as he severely struggled for traction and was not going to match Stevens' height, with the height confirmed at a modest 27.095 feet. This means Colt Stevens has become a two-time world champion. Next, it was time for the main events. The show started off with the Sparkle Smash stunt, and it even featured this interview segment where me and my dad may have been on the stream for a little bit. The stunt saw Kayla Blood smash through the wall of steel, which was an awesome sight to see. Well, it would have been for me if this guy hadn't have stood up right in front of me. Sit down, man. Anyway, the racing competition was next, and I'll be brutally honest with you guys. This was easily one of the best racing competitions in World Finals history. The amount of incredibly great races and insane upsets were plenty. In round 1, JCB Digatron defeated the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. Jurassic Attack would receive an automatic bye due to Black Pearl suffering from mechanical issues. El Toro Loco defeated Scooby-Doo. Velociraptor defeated the Lucas Stabilizer. A big upset from Jamie Sullivan saw her defeat Corey Rummel's Megalodon. Thunderosaurus defeated Kristen's Gravedigger. Wildside defeated Avenger. And Dragon defeated Soldier Fortune. Round 2 was filled with even more upsets. The reigning racing champ, Tristan England, defeated the fastest qualifier, Tyler Manninger, while Jurassic Attack defeated Todd LeDuc's Megalodon, and the newly crowned two-wheel champion Armando Castro advanced due to Camden Murphy being unable to return due to truck breakage. The upsets were not finished yet, as Velociraptor defeated Son of a Digger and Monster Mutt Dalmatian defeated Weston Anderson's Gravedigger. The final 3 races of round 2 saw Zombie defeat Thunderosaurus, and yet another huge upset came from Wildside, who defeated Adam Anderson's Gravedigger. The final race of round 2 was filled with controversy. The race would see Cody Saucier in Dragon square up against Blake Granger in Max D. However, Blake's truck had RAI issues and was pulled to the back. This means that Brianna Mahan would return, who would go on to defeat Cody Saucier. In the quarterfinals, JCB Digatron defeated Scooby-Doo, Velociraptor defeated Monster Mutt Dalmatian, Wildside defeated Jurassic Attack, and Zombie defeated El Toro Loco. The semifinals was shaping up for an awesome final round showdown. The reigning racing champion was in reach of potentially pulling a double, while 3 other drivers, including 2 World Finals rookies, were looking to etch their names in the history books. Tristan England would put himself in the final round once again, defeating David Olfer, while Zach Garner would defeat Bari Musawa. This then prompted a race for 3rd place, which was won by David Olfer. In just your first World Finals, getting 3rd place is a huge achievement, so congrats to David on that. The championship race was set. Tristan England had the chance to win back-to-back, which hasn't been done since Adam Anderson back in 2014. Or would it be Zach Garner, someone who has never competed in a World Finals before, win his first ever World Championship? Well, I'll let my video explain itself. first time ever, Zach Garner wins his first World Championship after having competed in just his first World Finals. This racing competition couldn't have had a more storybook finish, and it was easily the highlight of the night. During halftime, fans were treated to a surprise encore. Monster Jam had debuted a Fortnite monster truck during the pit party, and now that truck would jump the battle bus. Charlie Porkin would launch the new truck over the battle bus, clearing it with ease. However, upon landing, the truck would be sent into a spiral, destroying the body. However, did manage to save it, and Porkin would go back for the battle bus, this time destroying it with an incredible pyro display. The battle bus would be hit one more time, this time from the side on. And this was the end to an incredible halftime encore that perfectly set the mood for freestyle. It was time for the World Freestyle Championship, everyone's favorite competition. And to be honest, I think some fans were let down, and for good reason. The track, while already difficult for racing, was even more difficult during freestyle. All of the jumps were so closely put together, it was hard to land somewhere without breaking or flipping over. Corey Rommel started the freestyle competition off with a bang, huge leaps throughout, and this great slap wheelie across the racing lanes. However, a nosedive into the mountain, which broke the front tie rod, ended his run early. The score to beat was set incredibly low, only receiving a 5.887. Jim Kohler would follow, and his run was similar to Rummel's. However, he too would get tripped up on the mountain as the truck bounced off and flipped over right onto the dumpsters. He would raise the score to beat, however it was still pretty low, only receiving a 6.708. Next out for freestyle would be Kristen Anderson, who threw down a pretty solid performance that only left 19 seconds on the clock. The judges awarded her accordingly, however the score to beat now was still somewhat low. 7.483 was now the bar drivers had to clear, and who better than the newly crowned World Racing Champion Zach Garner to try and trump Kristen Anderson. Unfortunately, as has happened many times before, the run came to an unexpected end due to mechanical gremlins. Cody Saucier would follow up, and he would have a very similar run to Kristen's. He did, however, have a huge backflip and this great slap wheelie over the berm, but once again, the track bites, and the left front tire disintegrated upon landing. Once again, the bar was raised, but only to a 7.812, which does mean Saucier takes the lead in freestyle. The Arena Series West runner-up Dalton Widener would hit the track next in his first freestyle at the World Finals, and he easily laid down the best run of the night to that point. It had the air, it had his first trench box backflip, and it had some great technicality, and most importantly, he was the first to completely fill his time. An 8.142 was now the new score to beat, and quite deservingly so. I hate to admit it, but the Toddler Duke formula was on full display during this freestyle run. The run really didn't have anything memorable besides this great transfer, and when he started to air it out, he was quickly bit by the track and sent over early. David Olfer was on his way to topping Widener with an incredible run, as he was making all the smart decisions when it came to sending it and landing it in an area where he wouldn't be tripped up. However, the mechanical gremlins struck again and his run ended early. If you couldn't tell, there was most definitely a theme of trucks rolling over or breaking early on, and Olfer was just another example of such. I have to give credit where credit is due. Jamie Sullivan put on an impressive freestyle for just her first World Finals appearance. She, like Widener, kept the pace up throughout and threw in 2 crazy backflips. With this, she takes the lead and puts up an 8.248 as the new score to beat. Brianna Mahan would be next to try her luck, and she was on her way to having a great run until she landed awkwardly after the backflip and couldn't save it. Weston Anderson would follow, and he also was on his way to possibly taking the lead in freestyle, and he was taking all the necessary risks, and it was paying off. 2 huge leaps helped him get the fans excited, but it was this final leap that sent him over early. Bryce Kenny's run was somewhat similar, though he did throw in this great save. However, a pop tire meant that the run was unfortunately done. Out next was the newly crowned two-wheel skills champion Armando Castro, and he had a pretty good run. It had some really good momentum and air, as well as a backflip, but he lost second gear and the run came to an unfortunate stop just before the 30-second mark. For Kayla Blood's run, all it took was 2 simple hits. As a result, she didn't fill 30 seconds, which means she did not qualify for a score. Jamie Sullivan is still your leader as the final 10 drivers hit the track. The first of those 10 was Bari Musawa, and he had probably one of his best runs he's ever had at the World Finals. The run had some great air and good flow, but it was most notable for his backflip and the 2 moonwalk attempts he had during his run, helping add a much needed piece of technicality to spice it up. The run did come to an early end when he clipped the top of the mountain and flipped uncontrollably down the ramp. This was enough for the lead and set the score to beat at an impressive 8.480. Blake Granger would follow Musawa, and unfortunately, it was another truck that would fall victim to the track, as Granger was sent over early onto his roof. For the first time tonight, Cole Vernard would get a chance to compete for a world championship, as his truck was suffering major issues during racing. Cole's run, in my eyes, was criminally underrated. He really gave it his all during his run, and it showed. However, like what has happened so many times throughout the night, breakage upon landing the backflip at the 30-second mark unfortunately put an end to a potential championship-winning run. Adam Anderson's run was unfortunately disappointingly short, as he only managed to get a few hits in before he broke, and to add insult to injury, he rolled over shortly afterwards. In what ended up becoming Lindsay Reed's final ever freestyle in Monster Jam. And for more information on this, be sure to check out our website for a full article on this. Link in the pinned comment. She laid down a good run, but unfortunately broke upon landing the backflip. The 2023 racing champion Tristan England laid down a really good freestyle that, had more time been filled, he too could have been in contention for the championship. He had some really good pace and great technicality, most noted by this insane butt kicker in the final moments of his run. It did come to an end after an over-rotated backflip, which he couldn't save. The 2023 freestyle champion Colt Stevens would follow with another criminally underrated run. His run started off with the right amount of risk, even almost getting into trouble with this move that turned into a great save. However, it was clear afterwards the truck was not 100%, but he still managed to keep the pace and intrigue up. His run ended exactly like Tristan's, even managing to do this pirouette on the wheelie bar and spin it around. However, he couldn't save it and rolled over with only 6 seconds on the clock. In my eyes, this should have taken the lead from Musawa. However, it did not. But he did move into 3rd place, which was a little bit baffling. But we did have 3 more all-star drivers left to try and take the throne from Bari Musawa. Tyler Menninger was next, and he put SoFi Stadium on their feet with an incredible freestyle run that was well deserving of the lead. Menninger took all the risks necessary that were needed for him to take the lead, and he delivered. He had the best momentum so far, plenty of great saves, as well as 2 backflips, one of which was off the side of the dirt mountain. With this, he blows into the lead with the first 9 of the night. It would be a tall order for Camden Murphy to follow, and he was on his way to putting up a run that could beat Menninger. He had easily the biggest leap of the night, but that all came crashing down after this backflip, which is when his drive shaft decided it wanted to unalive itself. Whoa, 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 whoa. We are not doing this again. Finally, it was time for Ryan Anderson to once again close out the show. And close out the show he did, because he laid down arguably the best run of the night. There's no way to describe it other than typical Ryan Anderson. Huge leaps, a backflip to moonwalk, and this insane barrel roll crash that he turned into this mind-numbing save that broke the tire in the process. The only downside to the run was it didn't fill the clock. To the fans, it was a tough decision. Would it be Tyler Menninger winning his first freestyle championship, or would it be Ryan Anderson winning his second? Well, much to the shock and disappointment of Ryan Anderson, it would be Tyler Menninger who took home the gold and his first freestyle championship, making him a two-time champion. By now, I'm sure all of you are wondering what my final thoughts are for the event, and as I told my fans in person, I actually have two opinions. From a critical standpoint, most of the event was an absolute blast. And then there was freestyle. To me, it proved that if you're going to have a one-day show, having a really unique racing track is going to hinder freestyle to some degree, unless major track changes are made. And considering how long it takes to make those changes to the track, that just isn't realistic for a one-day show. Skills and high jump were great. Nothing more needs to be said there. I do think the future of both competitions is bright. However, with Salt Lake City hosting next year's World Finals, it does depend on the weather. Racing was easily one of the best parts of the night, with so many great races, mind-blowing upsets, and the best finish to an exciting racing competition you could have ever asked for. It's hard to not put racing as one of the best competitions of all time. Freestyle, yeah, maybe not so much. I did say I had two opinions, so what's the deal there? Well, as much as my critical review has been, well, critical, my other opinion does not impede with this one. My second opinion is a general one. I love this World Finals. Everything that I dreamed of seeing came before my very eyes. The pit party was nuts, and meeting you all made it all the more better. The experience of the World Finals, in my eyes, more than made up for what was critically a mostly great show with a lackluster freestyle. I enjoyed every minute of this show, and yes, that even includes when everyone kept flipping over. I think having two opinions makes me appreciate the event more, because the critical opinion allows me to make an interesting video that you guys love, but my general opinion allows me to be grateful for the absolutely unforgettable experience I had at the World Finals. With that being said, for those of you who want an actual rating, I've given Monster Jam World Finals 23 3.75 stars. It's a shame freestyle was the huge letdown of the show. Otherwise, this rating would have been much higher. But still, in saying that, I absolutely loved my time at the World Finals. Stay tuned very soon for a World Finals vlog featuring everything I got up to in America and even more footage from the World Finals. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon with some more Monster Truck content.